Welcome to Zack Talks Ball. In this video, we talk about Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker Devin Lloyd. Devin Lloyd has 3 interceptions so far this season. Let's talk about each one of them. I'll break down the coverage and explain what's going on. Let's get to the film. On this clip, we're looking at Jacksonville Jaguars linebacker Devin Lloyd, who's lined up right here. He's going to get the interception. I'll run the play, and then we'll break it down.
Grounding over the middle, intercepted! Devin Lloyd, the linebacker for the Jaguars, makes the huge play.
All right, let's take a look on film. And even though we're highlighting the Jaguars defense, let's talk about the offense first. We want to identify the offense. The Bengals are in 11 personnel. That's 1 back, 1 tight end. And they start in this 3-by-1 formation, 3 eligibles at the bottom, 1 at the top. And we're going to shift or motion the tight end so we get into a 2-by-2 formation now. All right, so 2 eligibles by 2 eligibles. All right, so that's what the offense looks like. 11 personnel, they shift into a 2-by-2 formation. So now let's talk about the Jaguars defense. The defense is in nickel personnel. That means 5 defensive backs. Specifically, the Jaguars are in what's common, but you could call it a 4-2-5. So 4 defensive line bodies, and then you have 2 linebacker bodies, and then you have your 5 defensive back bodies, right? Corner, nickel, safety, safety. All right, so we're in a nickel package. The Jaguars are currently lined up in what we're going to call an even front. Even front meaning there's an even number of defenders at the line of scrimmage, right? So 4 is an even number, so an even front. And they're in a 1 high safety, or also known as a single high safety structure, meaning there's only 1 single safety high in the defense, and the other safety is down here low in the box. All right, so what we're going to see is the Jaguars are going to run a cover 3 concept. So let's talk about basic cover 3 rules. I don't know exactly how Coach Camp teaches it for the Jaguars, all right, but basic cover 3 concept is going to be 3 deep defenders. We're going to have a deep third corner. We're going to have a deep third corner. We're going to have a deep middle third safety. And then for our underneath defenders, we're going to have a flat defender. We're going to have a flat defender. And then inside, we're going to have hook to curl, and we're going to have hook to curl. All right, so that's what our zone drops and our zone rules are going to look like. The nuances, and are we going to match routes, and where do our eyes belong? I don't know how they teach things, right? But we're going to see a base cover 3 type concept here at the snap. All right, so we're getting our deep third corner, our middle field safety, our deep third corner. All right, we're seeing our flat defenders out here, right? Our flat defender getting out wide, flat defender getting out wide. And then we're looking at the 2 inside guys, right? Devin Lloyd is the one that's going to get the interception. He's up top. And then we have Foye Oluokun down here. All right, so we're getting into our hook drop, And Devin Lloyd is going to get into his zone, all right? And then we get eyes back to the quarterback. And he's going to just drift with the eyes of the quarterback, all right? At this point, wow, what a great athletic play, getting extension, high point on the ball. Then try to make a play, get some yards after catch. Really great job. Let's take a look from the end zone view, all right? So again, all right, just to draw it from the back end, we're getting cover 3, all right? Here's our flat defender. This is going to be hook defender. This is going to be hook defender. Middle field safety back here. This is our edge rusher, right? We don't see the flat defender. He's off screen over here, but there is a flat defender out here. All right, so snap of the ball. All right, we're getting out to my hook, to my zone. All right, then we see that the quarterback has taken eyes off of my side of the field. So now let me vision and break off the eyes of the quarterback. All right, so he's melting with the eyes of the quarterback here. Ball is released. Great extension. Look at him reach for this. All right, that would have been a tight window throw. All right, but really great job going up and getting it for Devin Lloyd, making a big play for the defense. Love to see the run after catch. Love to see everybody juiced up for a teammate right there. Here we're looking at Jaguars linebacker Devin Lloyd get the interception. So let's run the play, then we'll watch the film.
Off the fake, Purdy.
Up and downfield. He's going to float it from McCaffrey. Loose ball. Picked off by Devin Lloyd. Another Jacksonville takeaway. Flag is thrown. And finally he's brought down.
All right, let's look at the film and break this down. Let's start by identifying the offense. The 49ers are in what we're going to call 22 personnel. That's 2 backs, 2 tight ends. We see a tailback. We see a fullback. So there's your 2 backs. Then we have 2 tight ends. We've got 1 tight end up top, 1 tight end at the bottom. And you're going to see a shift or a motion to a tighter formation. So that's what the 49ers offense looks like. All right, 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends in this heavy 2x2 set. All right, so now let's talk about the Jaguars' defense. The defense wants to match the personnel grouping of the offense. Well, if the offense doesn't have a whole bunch of wide receiver bodies running around out here, well, guess what? The defense doesn't need to be in like a nickel or a dime package with a whole bunch of defensive back bodies. So since the 49ers offense is heavier, the Jaguars are going to stay heavy, and they're going to be in their base defensive personnel grouping. All right, well, what is base defense for the Jaguars? That's a 4-3 defense. That means 4 defensive line bodies, and then we have 3 linebacker bodies, right? So a 4-3 defense, and then that leaves us with, our standard 4 DBs, corner, safety, safety. All right, so now let's talk about coverage. The Jaguars are running a cover 6 concept, or I don't know how Coach Camp calls it, but there's a million variations and terminologies for this. I'll try to explain a couple different ones. Some people call it cover 6. Some people call it quarter, half. Some people call it split field coverage. All right, what does that even mean? I'm going to start with split field coverage. All right, so split field coverage, let's just say that the defense is split in half. All right, we have what we call the strong side, and we have the weak side. All right, the strong side is going to play a specific coverage. The weak side is going to play a specific coverage. And usually the coverage is going to be called by the safety. The safety on that side of the field is kind of like the quarterback. So this safety is looking at his picture or his side of the formation. I have 2 eligible receivers. Well, what do I play with 2 eligible receivers in my split field coverage concept to the strong side? We play quarters, all right? And again, millions of variations. Some people just play quarters as zone your quarter, you be a flat defender, you be a hook curl defender. And that's cover 4 on this side of the field. All right. Some people include pattern match rules within their cover 4 principles. For example, pattern match might mean, hey, corner, you're going to zone your quarter, but if this number 1 wide receiver does anything beyond 10 yards, you now match his patterns and play it man to man. And same thing for this safety. He may be keying this number 2 receiver, the tight end. Hey, safety, if this number 2 receiver is vertical, you buy his route, you match that pattern, you play it man to man. If that number 2 receiver does anything else, you're kind of a free player and try to just fit where needed. All right? I don't know how they're teaching it. I'm just talking a little bit of ball here. All right, so that's what we're playing up at the top. We're playing a cover 4 or a quarters concept. All right, and at the bottom, we're playing a cover 2 or a deep half concept. All right, so again, if we're in this split field coverage situation, this safety is going to look at his picture, and he's going to decide based on the menu of options they have within their defensive terminology, hey, what coverage can I play to this picture? We have 2 eligibles, a tight end and a wing. What can we play? I'm going to play cloud or cover 2, right? And that's going to tell this corner to be a cloud or a flat force defender, and the safety is going to be a deep half player. All right, so that's why you will sometimes hear it called quarter, half, all right, because you have quarter, half, or you might hear it called cover 6 because it's cover 4 plus cover 2 equals cover 6. Or some people, this is just how they operate if they run split field coverages. Hey, split the field in half. Safety, what do you see on your side? What's your picture? Make a coverage call. Play it. Hey, safety, what do you see on your side? Make a coverage call. Play it. All right. I don't know how the Jaguars teach it. I just wanted to talk about all that stuff, and hopefully you learned something about football. Now we'll run the play a little bit. We're going to get this play action pass. All right. And to the top, we're going to see flat defender get out there. All right. Look, here's an example of pattern match, right? In the quarters concept. We're going to see this kind of a post looking route, and we're going to see this corner is going to match that route in his quarter. I'm going to buy that route, a little corner post action there. All right, so he's going to match that pattern. All right, let's look at this safety. This safety is going to key the number 2 receiver. If the number 2 receiver is vertical, he might have to match that. Well, the number 2 receiver is not vertical. So now this safety can be vision and break off the quarterback. All right, and he's deciding to come roll with the quarterback. And then he gets eyes on this route that's making way towards him. So he can help carry that route or help match that route. All right, let's look at the hook defender this side, Foye. All right, at the snap of the ball, he's reading run. Oh, no, it's pass. Let me get to my hook drop. I see something is in my zone. Let me try to carry or match that. Oh, I can deliver this to the safety, and then now I can flip my hips and get eyes back to the quarterback. All right, so that's what we're seeing on the strong side coverage, the quarters side. Now let's look at the bottom side, the cover 2 side. All right, so at the snap, we see the cover 2 corner, right? We're going to be a run defender in cover 2. So I'm trying to play the run. Oh, it's not run. Let me sink back into my flat zone. All right, let's look at the safety over here. Safety is in a deep half. All right, so snap of the ball, he's going to open, and he's going to roll because he sees the quarterback rolling. All right, and this is a little dangerous. I thought this is where he would throw this if you're looking at the all-22, because we're getting this route bending right across the half-field safety. This is open, all right? But instead, quarterback doesn't see that or doesn't decide to throw that. We're going to try to throw something with the back, just trying to make something happen over here, all right? So I wanted to talk a little bit about the coverage. Now we'll see what, the actual play result is, all right? If you just want to stare at Devin Lloyd down here, he's the hook to curl defender in the cover 2. All right, so he's going to see this route, and he's going to get to his hook to curl. He's going to see this is the only thing threatening his zone. He's going to try to go and play that, defend that, and then now he gets eyes back to the quarterback. The quarterback's trying to see scramble drill right here. Well, guess what? Devin Lloyd also sees scramble drill. Watch us turn the hips, attack the ball, tip drill, and that's just being opportunistic on defense right there, all right? Because as we can see, there might have been some open opportunity for the offense, specifically up here. We're going to get a little corner post action against the quarters corner, right? He's going to match that route. He's going to get beat a little bit, right? He's outside leverage, so just by alignment, the offense has the advantage. And then if we just flatten this out and throw that, that is an open play, right? So here's a great example of maybe, the 49ers have a play that's drawn up that's good against this defense, all right? They just don't execute better than the Jaguars defense does. And this is a great example of being opportunistic, all right? This is kind of open. We just missed the throw. But effort, getting to the football, good things happen. Tip drill, takeaway, great job by Devin Lloyd. Let's take a look from the end zone view. All right, so we get our motion. We're going to get this play action pass. All right, so again, deep half safety. All right, we're cover 2 to this side. We're hook to curl over here, but we see something in my zone. I'm going to come defend this. I thought he could rip this right here, but his eyes are already off of it. So instead, we're trying to throw to this back, trying to make a play, right? And this is kind of there. We just don't make the throw. Devin Lloyd turns to run, get after the ball, pursuit. And when you're around the ball, good things happen. All right, so that's a good example of, some cool coverage things going on the back end for the Jaguars. A good example of the 49ers kind of have a good play drawn up for that specific coverage. They just don't execute on offense, don't see it, don't throw the ball, and the Jaguars are able to capitalize on this missed opportunity. On this clip, we're looking at Jaguars linebacker Devin Lloyd. He's going to get the interception. Let's roll the play, and then we'll watch the film.
halftime break. Left some points on the table in the first half. Niners continue to deal with injury issues. Purdy floats it and throws an interception to Devin Lloyd. That's a 2-pick game for the fourth-year man out of Utah.
All right, let's break this one down. Let's start by identifying the offense. The 49ers are in 12 personnel, so that's 1 back, 2 tight ends in this 2x2 set. And the Jaguars are matching that bigger formation or that bigger personnel grouping. They're going to stay in their base 4-3 defense, so that means 4 defensive line bodies, 3 linebacker bodies, and then they've got their corner, safety. All right, so base 4-3 defense. And here the Jaguars are showing 2 high safety, and they're rolling or creeping to a single high safety structure. And what we're going to get from the Jaguars is a cover 3 concept, right? So again, cover 3, we're going to get a deep third corner. We're going to get a deep third corner. We're going to get a middle third safety. And then our underneath defenders, we're going to have a flat defender. We're going to have a flat defender. We're going to have hook to curl. And then Devin Lloyd is going to be hook to curl to his side. All right. 49ers run motion, play action pass. All right. And I want you to look at Devin Lloyd. All right. This is picture perfect, textbook, teach tape, how to play the hook curl defender. All right, so what we're going to get is on the snap, he's going to open his hips and run to his hook to curl zone. And quickly he notices, I have no threat in my hook to curl zone from my side of the formation. Let me flip my hips and see if there's anything threatening me from the other side of the field. All right, so this is really great eye discipline here by reading pass, drop to my hook to curl, flip my hips, and notice a new threat. Then he gets his eyes back to the quarterback and gets right in the window. Easy interception. Big play for another takeaway for this Jaguars defense by Devin Lloyd. I want to take a look from the end zone view. All right, so again, all right, he's going to be the hook to curl defender. Watch how we open our hips, run to the zone, and then when we see no threat, I flip my hips and look opposite. All right, motion. We get play action pass, drop to my hook to curl, flip hips. Look at the eyes, all right? Flip hips, look at the eyes, eyeballing any threats that may be coming from the other side of the field. And then that gets him into a position where he can put a better angle at his drop as he flips his hips and he gets right into that window. Great job here in the zone drop. Way to make a play on the ball and get the ball back for your team. Devin Lloyd has been balling this year. The Jaguars defense has been balling this year. Hopefully they can stay opportunistic and they can continue to take the ball away and help balance out this team. That's going to do it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you have any thoughts or questions, leave them in the comments. Like it, subscribe it. We'll see you next time.